Rabbi David's father taught.
If it's the same school as Birmingham, it's called the Adas Sister. It's a big school.
Yeah, so the son of the work, Frantz Nebel. Frantz.
Okay, thank you.
So just to give you the background so you know who he is. Frantz Joseph Nebel was born on the 20th of September 1923 in England, in Germany. And he died on the 19th of September 2010, which is 1 day short of his 87th birthday, in Randolph Avenue in Maida Vale. From the moment I got the phone call from the Metropolitan Police saying, found an old man alone in his flat. We found an article about ORT in his flat. We put ORT Berlin into Google, and there was no ORT in Berlin because there has been no ORT in Berlin since 1943. But we found ORT in NW1, so we thought you might be able to help us.
Can I ask you what kind of address that?
The nearest translation we can get to in English is Organisation for Rehabilitation Through Training. We're an education charity, a Jewish education charity, which started in St. Petersburg in 1880. So we've been going for a while. And the school that Frantz attended was a British ORT school in Germany. Because when things started going badly wrong, German ORT asked British ORT to pay for a school. Because they said it's easy to seize the assets of your own countrymen, much harder to seize the assets of another country. So buy us the school, buy us the equipment, and that'll give us some form of protection, which it did. It was the only Jewish institution that wasn't attacked on Christmas itself. And the school actually kept going until 1943. It was the last Jewish school operating in Germany. But as things continued to deteriorate, the British ORT decided to pull the boys out, to pull the school out. It was an all-boys school. And we have amazing stories about Colonel Levy, who was in charge of British ORT at the time, marching around Berlin in his Scottish regimentals. The embassy had been closed. This was 4 days before the outbreak of war, 4 or 5 days. British embassy's closed. He needs a stamp on all the boys' passports for them to be able to leave. He finds a German employee of the embassy who has the key and personally stamps the passports so they can leave. On the 29th of August 1939, the first 100 boys leave. And Frantz was one of those boys. The other 100 were supposed to leave on the 3rd of September. Of course, on the 1st of September, war breaks out and they don't get out, and they get sent to Auschwitz. And we only know of one of those who made it through the war. So Frantz came to Britain in 1939. He was lucky. He had his older brother with him, so he did have some family in the UK, which the others didn't. And he finished his education at the ORT school in Leeds. Basically, the school transferred from Berlin to Leeds, and they finished their education there, and then he served in the British forces for the rest of the war. He followed his brother into the Royal Electrical Mechanical Engineers and served there, and then he joined the post office. We know he was a postman for many, many years. And Frantz married late and was predeceased by his brother and by his wife. Both his parents, we think, as far as we can tell, both his parents and his younger brother, who was 13, died at Auschwitz. And there is no grave for them anywhere. So when the police rang us and we started looking at the story, we thought it was important that the grave commemorate not just Frantz, but the members of his family that do not have a grave to commemorate them. And that's why on the gravestone are listed both his parents, his 2 brothers, and his wife, because as far as we know, there's no grave anywhere for them. For a person who really didn't keep in touch with the community, Frantz took us on an incredible journey after his death. We suddenly, trying to find next of kin, I started talking to people, doing sessions at Limburg, going up to Leeds to talk to people, and suddenly we found old boys we hadn't been in touch with before. We heard stories we've never been in touch with before. We found the families of old boys who didn't know the story, and this was their first encounter with the Leeds old boys. So he took us on an amazing journey as an organisation, and it was important for us that, as it says on the gravestone, he's not forgotten, because he's the last of that line of family, and that's why we're here this morning.
Thank you.